In 1899, prominent French psychologist Alfred Binet was asked to become a member of the professional group of child psychology. This group, known as the Free Society for the Psychological Study of the Child, wanted to begin conducting research on children in a scientific manner, and posed a question to Binet: what would be an effective ability test to distinguish young children thought to have learning disabilities from their peers? Thus, the first practical intelligence test, the Binet-Simon scale, was born. Since that fateful day, humanity has been overcome with a burning desire to trump their peers in the now world-renowned IQ test, thought to be an indicator of intelligence and creativity. Recently, headlines such as these have been making the rounds online. Even though Albert Einstein and Stephen Hawking have never actually attempted an IQ test, nor thought highly of it. Does this mean that these children are more capable, more intelligent, and more creative than Einstein and Hawking? Well, that depends on whether IQ tests accurately reflect a person's intelligence and creativity, which is a hotly debated topic. But first, let's start with creativity. So, what is creativity? When you mention creativity, people usually immediately think of the arts such as drawing, painting, acting, and so on. While it's true that these fields require a person to be creative, creativity itself has a much broader definition. To keep it simple, we'll use the definition used by Robert E. Franken in Human Motivation 3rd edition. He says that creativity is defined as the tendency to generate or recognize ideas, alternatives, or possibilities that may be useful in solving problems, communicating with others, and entertaining ourselves and others. In short, to be a creative person, a person needs to be able to view things in new ways or from a different perspective. It involves thoughtful reasoning, divergent thinking, pattern detection, learning, and many other skills. It also involves two mental processes, thinking and producing. If you have many unique and wonderful ideas but you don't actually act on them, you are imaginative but you aren't creative.
So, does a person's creativity reflect their intelligence? Most research nowadays view intelligence and creativity as essentially unrelated abilities, and many studies have found very few correlations between them. Intelligence does play a role in creative thinking, but not how you would expect. A study found that creativity is moderately correlated with intelligence. However, not all people who have a high level of intelligence have a high level of creativity. According to a longitudinal study conducted on children in 1921, now known as the Terman Study of the Gifted, in the 40 years that followed the starting of the experiment, none of the children had produced anything highly creative. Therefore, we can say that the skills and personality traits that make someone a creative person may not be common even among highly intelligent children. You might be thinking, how do these researchers even measure a person's creativity? The thing is, creativity is subjective, which makes it difficult to measure. Over the years, researchers have attempted to study creativity in many ways, and some researchers have tried to create a method of measuring creativity using laboratory measures. One such method is to measure divergent thinking, which basically is the ability to search for multiple possibilities and outcomes in a given situation. An example would be listing all the different ways a rubber band can be used. So, how are creativity and intelligence related? There are three main theories regarding the link between creativity and intelligence. Firstly, the threshold theory. The threshold theory suggests that intelligence is a necessary element to have in order to be creative. However, being intelligent is not enough to be creative. According to the threshold theory, after approximately 120 IQ, further intelligence is negligible in terms of increase in creativity. Although some intelligence is needed, after a point, things like hard work, dedication, and commitment produce more creative persons than those of extreme intelligence. Extreme creativity has no link with extreme IQ. Rather, any proper creativity needs a minimum IQ. The second theory is known as the certification theory. The certification theory says that intelligence is not needed to be creative. Instead, a certain level of intelligence is needed to get to a place in the world where people can afford to be creative. An adequate education level is required to have the flexibility in schedule and funds to demonstrate and improve creativity. The third and final theory is the interference theory. The interference theory, in turn, says that high intelligence actually deters creativity levels. Extreme levels of prior knowledge can affect the ability to retain new knowledge at one end of the spectrum. On the other hand, new information can block the pathways to recalling old knowledge in a rarer anomaly. Both end up with the same result, a lack of creativity linked with extreme intelligence. It's difficult to determine whether high IQ and high levels of creative thinking are truly linked due to the inaccurate nature of measuring creativity. However, most modern research shows a high chance of at least a minimal correlation. Intelligence itself is only measured through intelligence quotients, which is a standardized way of testing all people, and this intelligence quotient, known as the IQ test, has been subject to many criticisms throughout the years. Creativity and intelligence being present together in a person is of higher probability for sure, but if this link is causal or correlation, it is practically impossible to tell with our understanding of the topic. Thank you for listening from Oda and Rukun.